Another story that's come up this morning is the report that Parliament has been infiltrated by someone spying for China who has a parliamentary pass. Now, you were in Parliament for 11 years, as you explain in your book. Should we be reviewing the allocation of these passes?
We should be reviewing two things. Yes, absolutely, the passes, and secondly, the funding. Because one of the other things that's come out with China is not just that there's a researcher in there, but that people with strong links to the Chinese Communist Party have been giving money to Labour MPs and employing former Conservative MPs. So I'm very worried about the parliamentary passes, and you'll remember that there was also a case of somebody with apparent associations with Russia, who was a parliamentary researcher for an MP, getting access to the Defence Committee. We have to be much, much more serious. Russia and China have aggressive espionage agencies, the Chinese intelligence agency, one of the largest in the world. They're desperate to suborn countries across the world, and Britain is not being serious enough.
I won't ask you how you know what you do about spying, but how seriously do you take the threat to our democracy from that kind of activity?
Very seriously. Remember, this is not the 1990s where the number of democracies in the world was doubling. We're now in a world where we've just had coups right across Africa, right the way across Sahel, now going down into Gabon, 7 countries. Democracy has been taken over by a military coup in a year. Many of those countries waving Russian flags, receiving support from China. And it's in the interests of authoritarian states to weaken countries like the United Kingdom. So we should be very, very cautious.
Your former colleague in the House of Commons, Ian Duncan-Smith, Conservative MP, says that we've been deeply infiltrated by China. Penetrated, I think, is the word he used.
I'm always very reluctant to agree with Ian Duncan-Smith. He and I have huge standoffs. But I think I'd prefer to quote Lord Evans, the former head of MI5, who's been very clear about the fact, both in a House of Lords report, but also when he was the head of MI5, that Britain is not being serious enough in dealing with the Chinese espionage threat.